spot, bringing stats like a kingpin. MMA knowledge meets his nephews all leaning, breaking down fights, cold stat daddy supreme. On just a tip show, he's cooking up a dream. Uncle Weezy, he the man, dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand, MMA guru, more than just a fan. Wanna know the numbers? Weezy got them cataloged, from the fighters reach down to how many times they dog. Just a tip living, breaking it down slick, hit you with the knowledge, won't miss a single trick. Uncle Weezy, he the man, dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand, MMA guru, more than just a fan. Balls, deep predictions, he be making those calls, getting in the details, opponents feeling small. From jazz to takedowns, got the whole fight ID. Uncle Weezy spitting truth, no lie, keep it G. Blow the horn, blow the horn. Stat Daddy Weezy not showing no scorn. Fight night kingdom, he wearing the crown. Break it down for the peeps, never looking like a clown.
Oh, yes. What's going on, everybody? It's Friday afternoon. Tonight, we've got Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Tomorrow, we've got John Jones versus Stipe Miocic in the UFC 309 main event. It's a great weekend of fights. That means a lot of fights to bet on. So let's talk about it this week. We're going to give you a full card breakdown here on Just the Tip. I'm going to give you guys a greasy 4-leg parlay this week. And I'm also going to give you guys something that's a little bit wider odds, something that I'm calling the take this job and shove it parlay, where we're going to try to give you guys something that maybe might cash in at much, much, much bigger odds, so that we can kind of turn the greasy 4-legger into something that I think is going to cash a lot more. And that's going to be 4 money lines. Because who's the number one capper and picking money lines this year? You're looking at him. It's the handsome gentleman with the beautiful head of hair right in front of your face right now. It's your Uncle Weezy. He's part of your family, and he's here to help you today. He's here to help you stack cashed tickets like flapjacks for UFC 309. So last week, we were 11 of 11 on fight picks. It's, I think, the second or third time this year that I've had a perfect fight card. But it wasn't the best in terms of my round selections, or whether they were going to win by decision or inside the distance. But 11 of 11, undeniable. The dog pick of the week hit, and Gaston Bolaños cashed it better than plus 200. The other 10 picks were correct. But it was a tough card from a gambling perspective, because from my viewpoint, all the minus 500 favorites should have been like minus 200 favorites. So it was hard to find value. I played a bunch of really small, huge upside props. All of them missed. Lost about 2 units, but still had a pretty good week from a DFS perspective, and a very good week from a picks perspective again. I know that some of you guys parlayed all my picks and probably got 40 to 1 or even better on that. Had a couple of comments on videos saying that people parlayed everything. So congratulations to everybody that made some money off of my picks last week. Let's hope we do it again this week. Wanted to make you guys aware, the 80% off coupon to a 1-month membership to my probability stats and content package is in the description of this video. You can click on that link, and you're going to get access to 1 month worth of my Dub Club probability stats and content package, which includes balls deep breakdowns every single week, which is about a 2 to 2.5 hour video. That's a full card breakdown that where I read from my fight write-ups that I do every week. This also gives you access to the matchup stats, the individual fighter stats, all the DFS stats, all the over-under betting models, all the prop betting models, access to my track bets, access to the Discord. It is a $25 value for 1 month. You're getting 80% off. There are 25 spots available, and that deal goes away tonight at midnight. So 25 of you are going to get access to a $5 for 1 month of the rest of the year's picks, packages, stats packages, everything that you could possibly imagine is part of that package. So check it out. The link is in the description of this video. But let's get right to it, you guys. We got a lot of fights to break down. I'm going to give you guys a real quick, let me share my screen with you guys. And there we go. And let's do a quick full card breakdown for this card. And once we do that, I'll give you guys a dog pick of the week, give you guys Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, and then we'll do the Greasy 4-leg parlay, and then we will do take this job and shove it parlay, and then we'll talk to you guys in the chat to see how everybody's doing this weekend and to see who is ready to stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC 309. So let's power through this, you guys. First fight of the night, Veronica Hardy versus Eduardo Mora. I am picking Eduardo Mora to win this fight by decision. I think it's going to be a very close fight. I think Eduardo Mora is going to need to clinch up. I think she's going to need to look for takedowns because she is going to be very much outmatched at distance striking range in this fight. But what I find encouraging when I look at Veronica Hardy's stats is that she's spending a massive amount of her UFC cage time in control time positions. Whether she's winning them or losing them, she's fighting Eduardo Mora's fight more often than she's fighting her fight in this particular situation. It's a big cage. If Hardy's able to use her footwork and her distance management to keep this at distance striking range for a long period of time, I think she'll not only win the fight, but probably win it pretty easily. But she constantly winds up in the kind of fights that I think are going to favor Eduardo Mora in her style of just wearing on her opponents, using her size, using her strength, using her grappling advantage to kind of just cling on to somebody, give them no room. You can wall install, you can lay and pray, you can land some ground and pound. I think Eduardo Mora is a good look for an underdog this week. I have a 1-unit bet on her to win by decision at plus 300 on BetOnline Sportsbook. That is still available. And the pick for that fight is going to be Eduardo Mora to win by decision. The next fight that we're going to talk about is another fight that I think is going to be very close. Bizel Hafez plus 220 going up against Oban, the Welsh gangster, Elliott at minus 260. Fight doesn't go to decision here, sitting at plus 190. The pick here is Oban Elliott by decision. I think Oban is the better striker. I think he's the better wrestler. I think he's more likely to win minutes wherever this fight goes. I rate Basil Hafez as the better moment winner in this fight. So I really do think that if somebody lands a knockdown in this fight, it's probably going to be Hafez. I think if somebody gets a submission in this fight, it's probably going to be Hafez. So I got this as the moment winning of Hafez versus the minute winning of Elliott. But Elliott's 6 years younger than this guy, and he's got the big cage to work. I think he's the superior technical striking. I prefer his conditioning. Love the fact that he's 6 years younger. That's always something that's going to lead me to the younger guy. But from what I've seen from Hafez, he's a guy that's very, very tough. He's never going to give up. He will fight through being tired, and he will always be looking to finish the fight. But he doesn't have a great minute-winning skill set at this level. So I do think that Oban Elliott should be able to stuff the takedowns, maybe get a couple of takedowns of his own. I think he's going to win the minutes at distance striking range. And I think he's going to avoid the big shot and the big submission and win this fight by decision. Oban Elliott by decision at minus 115-ish, minus 120 is something that I'm looking at this week that I haven't pulled the trigger on. But if you are somebody who's backing Basil Hafez, I think it's a good look. I think he can maybe land a big shot or have a really close submission attempt in 2 out of the 3 rounds, and it might be enough for him to win a decision. So while I can't get behind Oban Elliott at minus 260, minus 280 on the money line, I can get behind Oban Elliott by decision at minus 115 because I believe in the durability of Basil Hafez. So instead of paying almost 75% implied on him at minus 260, minus 280, I'd rather pay about 53, 54% implied probability and simultaneously count on the durability of Basil Hafez so that if Oban Elliott does win this fight, I think his most likely win condition is by decision. And that's a bet that I can get behind. But I also think Basil Hafez plus 3.5 points, Basil Hafez by decision, Basil Hafez money line, Basil Hafez finish only props are all bets that I think have a ton of value this week. So while I'm picking Oban Elliott by decision, I think the fight's going to be very close. And I think that there's a lot of bets that have my attention here that I think are plus EV for this week. And I just mentioned all of them to you. Let's move on to the next fight, which is going to be Mickey Gall going up against Ramiz Brahimaj. Now, we've got a couple of local guys here, as Ramiz is originally from the Bronx. We've got Mickey Gall being a New Jersey guy. So, this being at Madison Square Garden, these are two local fighters squaring off here. But I'm picking Mickey Gall to win this fight by decision. And what I'm seeing here is that I'm just not a believer in Ramiz Brahimaj at this point. The guys that he's beaten are not UFC level guys in Michael Gilmore and Sasha Palatnikov. Ramiz had to take 2 years off between the Gilmore fight and the Garimbo fight for neck surgery and a very bad neck injury. So this is not only a guy who I don't think is very dangerous anywhere the fight goes. He's also somebody who's had a degenerative neck condition and might not be physically able to fight the fight that he needs to fight at this level in order to win. So I think Gall's the better striker. I think Gall is the better wrestler and grappler here. I think Gall has the superior conditioning. I think Gall's got the better UFC wins. He's younger. He's longer. He's taller. So I'm just not sure how Ramiz Brahimaj wins this fight unless he just gets a takedown and submits this dude in the first round, which, I suppose that's on the table. I'm not a huge believer in Mickey Gall. He's not really a guy I want to be laying juice on. But in this particular situation, if we're just shaping up this fight, I don't know where Brahimaj is better than this guy. So I actually think Gall at minus 130, minus 140 is pretty good this week. And I'm going to pick him to win by decision because Ramiz Brahimaj has proven over and over again to be a very durable guy with a lot of heart who's not going to quit on himself, who's not going to look for the door. So I think Mickey Gall by decision at around plus 220 this week is a pretty good look. I think it might be worth a bet. And the money line, I think, hits at minus 140. The next fight is going to be Marcin Tybura at minus 145 going up against Jonata Diniz plus 125. The fight doesn't go to decision here, sitting around minus 325. This is a pretty, easy fight to cap. Tybura is going to be outgunned at distance striking range. Jonata is the better technical kickboxer. He's got more power. He's more accurate. He's more likely to win minutes and moments at distance striking range. But Jonata is a zero on the mat. If you take this guy down, he's not getting back up. And there's a massive experience differential here. There's a massive strength of schedule differential here. So the fact that we know that Marcin Tybura is not going to fight stupid, or at least we would hope that he wouldn't if we had money on him. If you're betting on Jonata Diniz, you're hoping that Tybura fights stupid here. But there's a clear path to victory for both guys. But my pick is going to be Marcin Tybura by second round KO. But Jonata Diniz is the younger fighter. He's the better striker. Tybura had to take this fight on short notice because Diniz was supposed to fight somebody else. Tybura kind of stepping in on shorter notice, like 2.5 weeks to take this fight against Diniz. And while Diniz, I think, is live absolutely for a knockout, and that Tybura is not the best wrestler in the world, I do think that if Tybura does get one takedown, it's definitely the round, and there's probably over a 50% chance that it's the fight. So with Tybura having the massive strength of schedule advantage, with him being a serviceable striker, that I don't see this being the kind of fight where if Tybura is just on the feet with him for 2 minutes, he's going to get slept. Now, it's a possibility with somebody that has the kind of power that Diniz does, but I think people are rating Diniz like he's like this Pereira type, and he's not. He's a guy that was a marginal kickboxer at best, but whenever he faced any of the best fighters, he lost. He was knocking out okay guys. So somebody like Tybura that's got almost 20 UFC fights at this point is somebody that has seen fighters like Diniz, but every time Tybura has been in there against somebody that's a complete zero on the mat, like Walt Harris, like Greg Hardy, like Tai Tuivasa, it was one takedown and the fight was over. I expect this to kind of be the same. So Tybura KO2 is the pick for this fight. All right, next fight is going to be Roberto Romero versus David Onama. This one opened with Onama around minus 1,100. I didn't research this fight. I'm just picking Onama. You don't really kind of get to come in here on less than a week's notice and beat a fighter the quality of Onama, not at this level, but it's not a fight that I broke down. It's not a fight that I have any real analysis on. When you add fights on Tuesday night and the favorite is minus 1,000, as a gambler, that could be, you should be staying away from that shit completely. You should not be trying to prop shop when a favorite is minus 1,000. That is such a minus EV way of doing things. So when the UFC kind of puts together these fights where they bring in some nobody off the streets that shouldn't be here, and they give them a 3-fight contract so that some guy who had a fight scheduled doesn't have to take a 0 for a paycheck. These are situations that I as a gambler just prefer to stay away from. So yeah, Onama by KO round 1, I guess, but there's no real analysis there. The next fight, Jim Miller versus Damon Jackson. This is another fight that I want absolutely nothing to do with this. We bet on fighters. We don't bet against them. It's a bad idea to bet against fighters because you want to back the guy that you're betting because you think that they have qualities to back. You don't want to back the favorite because you think his opponent is just ass. Because what if his opponent shows up and has a pulse? Then you might have just bet on somebody that's no good because you were expecting this guy not to have a pulse, and then he came in and he showed up, he was a different fighter. So Damon Jackson nearly died in the cage less than 3 months ago against Chepe Mariscal. Jim Miller, at 41 years of age, on the UFC 300 card, after he had been on UFC 100, after he had been on UFC 200, came in there and absorbed something like 180 significant strikes against Bobby Green and just got 9 shades of shit beaten out of him. So Jim Miller's a 41-year-old who had Lyme disease, who's coming off a generational ass whooping. Damon Jackson is a 37-year-old who's lost 3 out of his last 4 fights, who's coming off a generational ass whooping 3 months ago. So these are guys that I don't want my money on. You don't bet on 41-year-olds coming off of generational ass whoopings, and you don't lay juice on guys like Damon Jackson, who have just frankly looked awful lately. So I'm picking Damon because I think he might be, less washed, but I cannot recommend having money on either one of these guys. I thought about betting an under 1.5 for this fight, but then it's then I gotta think that Damon Jackson gets a finish in 7.5 minutes or Jim Miller gets a finish in 7.5 minutes. And I don't think either one of them is somebody that I want to have money on or count on to finish a fight. So it's just a complete stay away from me. The pick is going to be Damon Jackson by decision, but no tracked bets on this. And I will have no money on that fight. Next fight, we got Chris Weidman at minus 105, Eric Anders at minus 115. Fight doesn't go to decisions here, sitting at plus 150. I kind of like violence in this spot, but I like Anders here. I like him quite a bit. I think that there's some recency bias in this line because they just made Chris Weidman plus 200 underdogs after having his leg broken gruesomely in the cage at the age of 39, which I think people are forgetting that happened. Chris Weidman's professional MMA career, ladies and gentlemen, it ended 3.5 years ago. This is the 3rd fight since it ended. And Brad Tavares nearly destroyed that leg that was chopped up, in the that was broken in half in the fucking Uriah Hall fight. So you had Chris Weidman losing dominantly to Brad Tavares, who's old, very old and washed at this point. Then he comes out there and he pokes the shit out of Bruno Silva's eyes for 3 rounds and wins one of the least impressive decisions that I have ever seen against a fighter who's admittedly even said himself, during his last fight, he came out there after in the press conference, said, yeah, I just don't want to do this anymore. I'm just not feeling this anymore. That's what Bruno Silva said. Weidman gets a win over that guy, and now he's fucking minus 115 against this sober Eric Anders, who still has a pulse, who's still a fucking way, way, way better athlete than this guy that's recently had his leg broken in half at the age of 39. So Anders inside the distance. I just think that there's a tremendous amount of recency bias in this line. And I think you're seeing a broken down guy in here in Chris Weidman, who people are all of a sudden resurrecting because he beat Bruno Silva. I would suggest that you don't bet on Chris Weidman here. I think Eric Anders is going to win this fight. I think he's going to finish Chris Weidman here. Next fight, very interesting. We got Jonathan the Dragon Martinez at plus 110. We got Marcus McGee at minus 130. Fight doesn't go, minus 110 for this one. I'm picking McGee here. I'm picking him to win it by decision because of, I think that there's a gigantic power differential here. And with Martinez, you obviously have to worry about this kid's phenomenal leg kick attack. He's a great minute winner in the distance striking exchanges, and he breaks you down from the ground up, and he does it very systematically, and he does a great job of it. But I think one of the great things that we can count on from McGee here is the fact that he constantly is switching stances. So I think that he's going to be able to mitigate some of the leg kick damage that's done here. And if he can stay kind of like a step ahead in terms of setting up traps and looking to land power shots against Martinez, I don't think it's going to be close when we look at who's landing the more significant head strikes in this fight. I think Marcus McGee is going to be landing the majority of the significant head strikes in this fight, and that if he doesn't show a lot of damage to his lower legs, I think that he's going to win this fight, and he might even get a finish. We saw Jonathan Martinez get flatlined by Davey Grant, who's another guy who just goes out there and swings hammers. So, excuse me, guys. I do like McGee. I think he's going to win it by decision because I think Martinez is a pretty defensively sound guy who's going to be attacking the legs and making Marcus, kind of find his way in with those big shots. But I do think damage reigns supreme in this area, in this era of the UFC, and I think McGee's going to be the guy doing more damage. So I'm picking him to win this fight by decision. Next fight, we got Mauricio Hufi at minus 800 going up against Jimmy Yontop plus 550. Fight doesn't go to decision at minus 225. And I always am disappointed when people with neck tattoos and face tattoos show subpar intelligence and professionalism. It hurts me because I really believe that these are the future leaders of this country and this world, the people who are bold enough to tattoo their necks and their faces. But this kid, Jimmy Yontop's a fucking moron, isn't he? He's missing weight constantly. He blows it as a minus 500 favorite to Taco Padilla, who was on less than a week's notice. He goes out there and he misses weight against Borshov and loses a decision there in a close fight. And now he's coming in against one of the most hyped prospects in the entire organization right now, in Mauricio Hufi. And he asked for a fucking catch weight the night before weigh-ins, gets it because they're so desperate to get this guy Hufi on the card and get him another knockout. And he misses weight. He not only would not have made weight at 156, but they make it a 165-pound catch weight, and he fucks that up and misses the 165-pound catch weight. Jimmy Yontop, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Start being a professional. Start acting like you're a fucking professional fighter and start taking this shit seriously, and stop going to your tattoo artist and getting these dumbass face and neck tattoos. I mean, he's got an FFC tattoo on his throat. What a moron. It's Mauricio Hufi. It's Hufi by KO in whatever round he wants it, I think. But Yontop's a pretty durable guy. He's kind of got that Homer Simpson head, so maybe it'll take him a little bit longer. Hufi, KO 3. Next fight, Vivi Araujo, plus 225, going up against Karine Killer Silva, minus 265. Fight doesn't go to decision here at plus 180. I got Silva. I'm picking her to win by decision. I definitely think she's live for a finish here, even though Vivi's been historically very, very durable. I think Karine Silva's got a finishing ability that we haven't seen from any of Vivi's prior opponents thus far in the UFC. We got two completely different career trajectories here. You got Karine Silva, who's on a massive winning streak, who's winning dominantly. And you got Vivi Araujo, who's kind of going to decision, who's losing a lot of minutes on the feet, who's kind of counting on winning minutes in the clinch and on the mat. And she's doing that with some good efficiency, but against somebody that's bigger and stronger than her and Karine Silva, I think it's going to be very difficult for Vivi to win minutes in the grappling exchanges of this fight. And if you watch her last 5 fights, she's just not winning minutes at distance striking range, which is where, if you're going to back Vivi, I would think that you would be backing her to win the striking exchanges of this fight. And I was thinking that pre-tape, that one of the reasons I was thinking about getting on Araujo pre-tape was, yeah, she can outstrike Karine Silva. I don't know, man. Not at 38 years old. I'm not backing Vivi here. I'm very confident in Karine because not only do I think that she's underrated in her ability to win minutes against Vivi wherever this fight goes, I just don't think that there's any question that it's going to be Karine closer to getting submissions. I think she's the much more dangerous moment winner on the mat, and I think she's the much more dangerous moment winner at range. Plus, she's much younger, much bigger, much stronger, and on a completely different career trajectory here. So I think it's Karine Silva however she wants it. I like Karine as a parlay piece this week, and I think that she's probably one of my safest money line bets of the week for this week. Next fight, some kid I never heard of named Bo Nickel at minus 1,200 going up against Paul Craig, the Bear Jew, plus 750. Fight doesn't go to decision here. Juice to the tits at minus 900. I'm going Nickel. I think he's going to break Paul Craig late in this fight. But there's something like that I was kind of taking issue with most of what I'm hearing in terms of the breakdowns of this fight. And that's that I think people are just assuming that Bo Nickel is going to go out there and just kind of like knock out Paul Craig when there's, virtually no evidence to suggest that this guy's a UFC level striker so far. Because you looked good against, Val Woodburn and Jamie Pickett, that doesn't really mean anything to me. And I want to remind everybody of something. That number right there that I just highlighted, 2.2. That's how many minutes of distance striking at the UFC level we've seen out of Bo Nickel so far. 2.2. So I'm just not ready to say like, oh, Bo is going out there and just knocking out Paul Craig. Paul Craig got knocked out by Johnny Walker, who's got a ridiculous amount of power at 205, by the way. Paul Craig just got knocked out by Caio Borralho, who's probably a future champion and who also just outstruck Jared Cannonier, who's fought for a title over a 5-round stretch. So I think Bo's still got a lot to prove here, especially in the striking. So if I'm right about that, I think Bo's going to actually need to wrestle here in order to decisively win minutes, because I think he can get takedowns whenever he wants them against Paul Craig. I think he can out-wrestle and out-grapple Paul Craig fairly easily, get the kind of takedowns where he doesn't immediately wind up in Paul's guard, where he's going to be playing defense. Get the kind of takedowns where you're immediately inside control or in half guard, or where you're already kind of like working towards his back. But I think Bo is going to need some time to break Paul. So I kind of like the over 1.5 here, and I'm picking Bo to win this one by 3rd round submission. I think he will break Paul, but I think it's going to happen in the second half of the fight. So I think that there's some value in the later round props here on Bo Nickel, just because I think people are just assuming that this kid who has no striking background at all is going to just go out there and look like Pereira at distance striking range. It's not going to happen. He's not there yet, and I think he's going to look a lot better when he strikes, when his opponents are worried about taking him down. But Paul Craig actually kind of wants to be on the ground. So I think that Paul is not going to be worried about Bo's striking because he doesn't really care if Bo takes him down. I think he wants to be there. So Bo Nickel, submission round 3. It's kind of a contrarian take because I think everyone thinks that Bo's just going to go out there and dick saw him in like 3 minutes. But I think it's going to take a lot longer than that. The co-main event of the evening. We got Charles Oliveira at minus 240 going up against Michael Chandler at plus 205. The fight doesn't go to decision here, sitting at minus 800 for this fight. 5-round fight. I got Oliveira winning by submission in round 3. I think Michael Chandler is going to be very, very dangerous early in this fight. Michael swings hammers. He's got a ton of power, and neither one of these guys has good distance striking defense. So while I think Oliveira is the far more opportunistic finisher, while I think that Charles at this point in both of these guys' careers is much more durable and much more able to take a punch, and of course, he's the more opportunistic submission grappler. The guy's the all-time UFC submission leader. So there's a lot of reasons to like the Oliveira side, but to sit there and just say that Chandler has no chance to win is faulty. This guy absolutely has chances to win. Michael Chandler's got a ton of power. He can wrestle. He can get good ground and pound. He's got a pretty good submission game in his own right. The guy's only been submitted once in his entire career, and he's been fighting at a very, very high level for a very long time. So I do think that Charles Oliveira is probably going to win this fight and win it by finish. But I also think that your butthole is going to be puckered if you've got Charles in your parlays. But I think that, since he's younger, since he's the better grappler, I think, and then you look at the strength of schedule, Charles, in every opponent that they have, Charles is outperforming those shared opponents than compared to how Chandler performs against them. So a lot of MMA math on Oliveira's side. And I know a lot of people say that MMA math doesn't work. It works a lot of the time, you guys. I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I'll tell you something, at the highest levels, it's something that you really should be taking into consideration when you have common opponents between the two fighters. It's a good area to examine. Not the only area of, obviously we examine all these different areas, but it's one of the ones that I really do like to watch. And Oliveira's submission round 3 is the pick for this fight. The last fight of the night is the main event, Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. And I'm picking Jon Jones to win by decision. But, in all honesty, this is not a fight that I'm really breaking down that much this week. Jon Jones is on a 1.5-year layoff. I think that he's kind of coming back to cement his legacy against somebody that's really not going to be much of a threat to him, a 42-year-old firefighter who hasn't been in the cage for over 3.5 years. So there's just, because we have no recent information on either fighter, and we're going to have to make a lot of inferences and a lot of guesses as to how committed each guy is, I don't like to leave that kind of shit to chance. So I'm not really betting on this fight. I'm not doing anything. The pick is Jon Jones by decision, but I don't really have any analysis. I will not be betting this fight. It won't be in any of my parlays or anything. And it's just something I'm going to sit back and enjoy because Jon Jones is my favorite fighter of all time. I consider him to be the best mixed martial artist to ever step in any cage anywhere. And Stipe Miocic is a phenomenal heavyweight who is arguably one of the greatest heavyweights to ever step foot in the UFC cage. So these are two legends who have done so much for the sport. They've shed blood in the cage for our entertainment, and I respect both of them for what they do as mixed martial artists. But as a gambler, I'm just staying away, and I'm fine doing that. So that's the full card breakdown, you guys. Jon Jones by decision, Charles Oliveira submission round 3, Bo Nickel by submission round 3, Karine Silva by decision, Mauricio Hufi KO round 3, Marcus McGee decision, Eric Anders KO round 2, Jackson decision, Onama, Tabura KO round 2, Gall decision, Elliott decision, and Mora decision. The Bootsy Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week this week is going to be Eduardo Mora's money line. I do have a 1-unit bet on her as well by decision at plus 300. But I think Mora, now that she's up at her natural weight class, I think is going to be able to perform better in the cage now that she's not taking as much out of her to make weight. And I think that her size and her physicality and Veronica Hardy's tendency to be in the kind of fights that favor the Mora side here is going to make this very close fight into something we can cash on Mora by decision. So that's your Bootsy Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week. And when we're looking for somebody to go out there and shave ass, when you're looking at candidates for Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, we're looking for somebody that's not just going to win, but they're going to win in dominant fashion. And who better? Who better than the all-time finish leader in the UFC, Charles "Do Bronx" Oliveira, the younger guy. I think the more powerful guy on the feet. I think the more opportunistic submission grappler, taller, longer, better career trajectory. Michael Chandler's been away from the cage for 2 years because of the shenanigans of former fighter and current cokehead Conor McGregor. That matters. There's going to be a little more ring rust on the Chandler side. And Oliveira is just such a phenomenal finisher. And I have more faith in Oliveira's defense, which is hilarious because Oliveira is one of the worst defensive fighters in the UFC. But I do have more faith in his defense here. And I also have more faith in his ability to be able to find that opportunistic submission at any point in the fight. So your Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week is going to be Charles Oliveira to shave the ass of Michael Chandler. And then let's do it, you guys. Let's really quick get through the Greasy 4-leg parlay for this week. So we've been on a bit of a cold streak. We kind of got screwed on a Greasy 4-legger when a double spinning back fist imploded plus 600 with 8 seconds left in the second round in the Shara Magomedov Armen Petrosian fight. But as the capper who's got the best straight fight picks this week, or I mean of the year, of the last 5 months, according to UFC Prediction Tracker, why shouldn't I be just putting money lines? These should just be money line bets. So let's do a Greasy 4-legger that's all money line bets because that's where I'm having my most success. And if I'm having my most success there, we're going to have more success cashing these Greasy 4-leg parlays because, and there's a very simple reason that I am having this kind of success in it, and it's putting in the work. This is my write-up on Mora versus Hardy. You know, we've got the last 3 fights of each fighter. We summarize those trends and the recency bias that we've found in the betting lines. We summarize both fighters' overall and UFC strength of schedule and determine who has the advantage. We determine both fighters' distance striking stylistic components and who has the advantage. When I'm saying we, I mean me. I'm referring to the royal we, your Uncle Weezy. And then, yeah, we summarize the clinch and the grappling stylistic components and who has the advantage there. Hardy's strengths, Hardy's weaknesses. Mora's strengths, Mora's weaknesses, the summary and conclusions of the matchup, the pick, the best bets. So the reason that my picks are coming through better than a lot of other people's is because I'm just simply putting in the work and I'm giving you guys access to all of it. So if you want access to all of this, the 80% off link ends at midnight tonight. Get in there. None of you pricks have signed up yet. I can't believe that. I've been live here for 38 minutes. I told you guys about this 80% off coupon to the Dub Club package there. $5 a month. You don't have $5 to get access to these fight write-ups, to get access to over 4 hours worth of content every single week for balls deep breakdowns, for probability, for access to my Discord, access to all my track bets, all this stuff that I'm giving you guys. All the betting models, all the stats that you see right here. Check it out, you guys. Check out that 80% off coupon. Come a part of the club where we're putting in the work and we're analyzing these fights. And together, we're stacking cash tickets like flapjacks together. But let's get this Greasy 4-leg parlay. And then I'm going to give you guys the take this job and shove it parlay. And then we're going to talk to the chat, see if you guys have any questions for me. Leg number 1 of your Uncle Weezy's Greasy 4-leg parlay this week is going to be the Mickey Gall money line. It was at minus 137. Now it's minus 135 here on BetOnline Sportsbook. We just talked about this. I think Gall is better than Brahimaj pretty much everywhere. I think he's the better minute winner, better conditioning, taller, longer, younger, better striker, better submission grappler, all of it. So I think he's going to win this fight. Marcin Tybura is going to be leg number 2 at minus 140. The better grappler, more experienced overall, more experience at the UFC level, an absolutely massive UFC strength to schedule advantage, and wins over very similar opponents in Walt Harris, Greg Hardy, and Tai Tuivasa. Zeros on the mat, 1 takedown, and it's over. And Marcin has always been a fairly durable guy who's not completely out of his depth at distance striking range. So he's a pretty durable guy. I think he'll be able to find a takedown. And when he does, I really think that he's either going to completely shave ass that round or probably finish the fight. So I think that he can easily win this fight, win a decision with 2 takedowns in 2 different rounds, and get a finish with one of those takedowns potentially as well. So that brings the parlay up to a plus 198. Leg number 3, somebody I'm just really confident in this week, and it is the Karine Silva money line. Different career trajectories, better moment winner wherever the fight goes. And I think that Vivi's ability to win minutes and in the distance striking exchanges is not really there anymore. I haven't seen it lately. So I think Karine Silva at minus 290 is a spot that definitely hits this week. And leg number 4, of course, it's going to be Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. Charles Oliveira at minus 255. That brings this 4-team parlay up to plus 459. And there it is. Finally, 1 subscriber. Thank you. Whoever just signed up for $5 just got an amazing deal. Thank you for signing up. $5. Ring a ding ding, you guys. Just got a new subscriber to the Dub Club. Now that means there's only 24 spots left. That deal goes away at midnight, and it's not going to come back ever again. I'm not giving 80% off 1 month's membership to this shit. This is to try to get you guys to see how good of a product it is so that you do re-up, but giving 80% off when I've already got over 100 people paid on the Patreon and Dub Club combined kind of seems silly. So take advantage of it before it goes away. Get on that $5 link that you see down there in the description of this video. But the Greasy 4-leg parlay comes out to plus 459 on Bet Online Sportsbook. That is your Greasy 4-legger this week, but also on the probability show this week, we do a probability parlay every week. And this week, and from every week now on, we're going to be doing the Take This Job and Shove It parlay, which this week is going to be Oban Elliott to win by decision. And if we were to do this, say, on Bet Rivers, right? Now, plus 446 is what this Greasy 4-leg parlay comes out to on DraftKings. But if we were to do the Take This Job and Shove It parlay, we're going to be doing Oban Elliott by decision, which is minus 135 on DraftKings, which is just absolutely horrible. The second leg is going to be Eduardo Mora by decision at plus 300, but for some reason, it's not going to be nearly as good. It's only plus 275 on DraftKings Sportsbook. And then the third line is going to be under fight parlays, and it is going to be, if we go winner and group of rounds, or no, winner to win fight and total rounds, go down to this kid that a lot of people are saying is pretty good. Bo Nickel to win and over 1.5 rounds, which is only plus 140. Okay, so this parlay comes out to plus 1466. But if we were to go here on Bet Rivers Sportsbook, I bet we could find a much better line. So, Mora by decision, only plus 240. Jesus, God, that's horrible. Elliott by decision, minus 121. And then Bo Nickel to win in over 1.5 rounds. Plus 205. That brings it up to plus 1,800. So like a quarter unit to win 4.5. I think that that's going to be something that I'm going to be playing this week. It's Eduardo Mora by decision. It's Oban Elliott by decision. And it's Bo Nickel to win and over 1.5 rounds. Comes out to plus 1,800. We did it. I want that scrolling on the bottom of the screen. The link is in the description of this video. Get access to that package for $5. I promise you, you guys, you will not regret it when you see how much information it gives you access to every single month. It's going to help you make much better long-term gambling decisions that will help you be a long-term profitable gambler like me, your Uncle Weezy. What's up, you guys? Let me go full screen here and let's start talking to the chat. I got 120 comments to catch up on here, you guys. 120. So let's get to it. We got my guy Olajuwon Dream saying, oh, yes, let's get Greasy. There's another. That's 2. Ring a ding ding. 23 spots left, you guys. That's another one. That's 3. 22 spots left. Get on it before it goes, you guys. I promise you, this kind of deal is not going to be available ever again. You're going to love all the access that you get information to. That's another one. That's 4. You guys, 21 spots left. All right, we got Mr. Wipeout saying, let's get our elder abuse appetizer with Paul versus Tyson. Tomorrow's the dessert. Let's eat this weekend. Let's stack some flapjacks. We got Flo in here saying, oi. We got TH in here saying, oi. We got Radislav in here saying, oi. And my guy Kid Deep Montana, the Godfather, is saying, oi. Jacob Cole saying, blow the horn. We got Montana saying, I'm a legend. We got Litz saying, oi, Jake Paul fight week. Let's go, boys. Let's make some money. We got Shown Off up in here saying, oi. Jacob saying, my girl starts tripping every time she hears this intro. We got Remdog saying, we're going to stack them high this week, Unc. You're damn right we are. We got Kadeep saying, hit you with the knowledge. Won't miss a single trick. Uncle Weezy, he the man. Dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. Let's go. 4-ounce sniper in the room. We got AFG Baller. Let's go. We got my guy Avery Marino, the sponsor of the show, in the room saying, oh, shout out to Avery Marino. We got Sped saying Jake minus 175 on the 3-way line and sprinkle the draw. We got Paul saying, hey, Weezy. We got Manny saying, let's get this bag. I do not have the number for the elder abuse hotline. We can actually check that out on Google, though. 58-year-old Mike Tyson. And let me just stop and pontificate just for a second. As a 50-year-old man, boxing is a sport that really requires your legs. You know, your legs are so much, the footwork, being able to stay up on your toes, you know. Dude, this guy's body's got to be falling apart like a Chinese motorcycle. He's a 58-year-old former world champion boxer. This guy's been taking a bunch of damage. He's worked his legs to the bone. You know, I mean, it's probably going to be Jake Paul, you guys. I mean, but the one I think very interesting thing that I don't hear anybody breaking down, which would be the information that would lead you to a Tyson bet. Not that I'm betting this fight, and I'm certainly not betting on a 58-year-old man to win a boxing fight, but this is the only real boxer that Jake Paul has fought in these actual, in these, what I would call the circus fights, you know, like the Ben Askren fight, the Nate Robinson fight, you know, Vitor, did he fight Belfort or maybe even Holyfield? Like, I don't remember, but he fought all these old guys that weren't really boxers. I don't think he fought Holyfield now that I think about it, but they're not really boxers. So Mike Tyson is at least a boxer. So I think that that's interesting in that, you know, he's actually going to be fighting somebody who knows how to box this time around instead of a former mixed martial artist or a former basketball player or just a guy that swings hammers and's got a bunch of power that used to fight mixed martial arts. And now you're putting them, you know, in these giant boxing gloves. That's 7, you guys. Only 18 spots left on this deal. So get it while it's going. But yeah, that's what we're talking about here when we're talking about the elder abuse. We got Dixon in the room. Can I interest your degenerate highness in a light sprinkler on the Paul versus draw plus 1,000? It's what's best for business. Yeah. And nobody loses. Everybody gets paid. That's interesting. It's an interesting way to look at things because, you know, I don't look at this as a real fight. You know, this is a 58-year-old guy. You know, and it's a guy in Jake Paul who's been very careful about selecting the right opponents. So yeah, that's not the worst look, Dixon. I Googled the term GOAT. Uncle Weezy's face was under the definition. Also, if you are into psychedelic rock, there is a band called GOAT, GOAT. Phenomenal stuff. Check out GOAT live on Levitation Sessions. Amazing psychedelic rock. Big fan of the band from Kornbalo, Sweden, on the Arctic Circle. Some very enigmatic, interesting musicians up there in Sweden, and GOAT is one of my favorite bands. We got the fixes in, says Dixon Cider. Weezy, I want to hear your thoughts on Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor 2 tonight. I don't know. Is that one of the boxing matches on this thing? I have no idea who either one of them is. Your Uncle Weezy works real hard on the MMA, so he doesn't have time to look into boxing and power slap and any of the other things that are going on. We got Jenna Marie's in the room. What's happening, Jenna? Good to see you hanging out in here. We got Mr. Wipeout saying great adjustment on the money line approach. My book offers a bet back bonus for money line 5-leggers if only one leg misses. I like that. That's pretty cool. I like those parlay insurance gigs that some of these guys give up, and I think it's a good adjustment going forward. We got my guy Michael in the room saying, "Oi, flapjacks for all," and you guys ring a ding ding. My guy Avery Marino from the tent outside of McDonald's using the McDonald's Wi-Fi because Mark Barrios screwed him, saying, "God bless Weezy." Charlie Olives is paying the mortgage. He's going to get back into his house. He's going to sell that tent, and he's even going to get the Wi-Fi people to come and hook that house up with Wi-Fi again so that he can enjoy living like the rest of us here and taking advantage of this beautiful UFC 309 card that we all hopefully make a bunch of money on. Ring a ding, you guys. My guy Avery Marino, Blockwire Crypto, sponsoring the show, and it is truly, truly appreciated, Avery. Thank you so much for the generous donation. We got Tone Miggins in the room saying, "Let's go." What's up, Tone? We got Jacob saying they just legalized sports gambling in Missouri. Ring a ding ding. Shout out Missouri. Thank you for making sports gambling legal. And for all you people who weren't thinking about signing up for your Uncle Weezy's Dub Club, where there's like 19 spots left, you guys, 19 spots, $5 a month. Link in the description of the video. Check it out, you guys. Get it before it's gone. It's gone at midnight tonight. We got Daniel Pauly saying, "I dropped a $50 on a full card parlay with your picks and my 4-leg Greasy parlay hit. Thanks." You're welcome, Daniel. That's what I do, man. I love it when you guys make money off of my picks, and it's truly appreciated when you come back here and shout me out for it. So I'm glad that it all worked out, Daniel. There's a mean glare on. Yeah, there is. Yeah. But, do you really want to see my eyes? Do you really want to see the bags underneath my eyes from all the work that I do? No, you do not. So we're going to deal with that glare. We got Manny saying, betting the house on John Jones under 2.5 rounds. Good luck with it. I mean, I'm not betting on that fight. I just don't see any reason to bet on it, but I know other people have takes, and if you got a strong take, hit it. We got Avery back on his goat shit. Yes, sir. Avery, nice. Thank you for doing that. Absolutely. Yeah, Cal, I'm coming. Yeah, that's right, man. We got my guy D Spearman is in the room saying, "Weezy, what's up, D?" We got Avery saying Olives inside the distance, McGee money line, Tabura money line, cash it. And those are all picks. I've got McGee winning. I've got Tabura money winning. And I got a Charlie Olives 3rd-round submission finish. That parlay will buy your family Christmas presents. I promise. Let's get it, dude. We got Jacob saying, if Jack couldn't finish Hafez, I doubt Oban can. Yeah, that's why I like that Oban by decision. Derek Lewis was supposed to fight Janice the other week. Yeah, that's what was supposed to happen. That's why this is a short notice fight for Tabura, because Janice had a fight. It fell out. And now they were like, okay, Tabura is going to fight you, So he got the step up in competition that he deserves after being 2-0. And we'll see how he handles it. Rolando Romero under 1 takedown, -140 on Bet Online. That's not bad at all, dude. That's not bad at all. We got Larry saying, "What's good, fam? Good to see you in here, Larry." We got Jacob Cole likes Denise this week. We got Larry saying, "Who's ready to stab flakjacks?" Me, I am. We got Jake saying, "I thought so." We got Olajuwon saying an interesting line movement in Serrano Taylor. Katie was plus 105 now, and she's plus 180. So, yeah, a lot of money must be coming in on Serrano then. Somebody knows something. Yeah, probably. Sweating at Olajuwon, 2,000 on goes to the decision, and the puncher takes a ton of steam. Yeah, well, we'll see how it all works out. Jackson looked like shit on the scale. Yeah, and that's up a weight class at 155. Picking Jim Miller, got it. Tell him a little worried something's up with Taylor, but hopefully it's just folks betting on Paul's girl on the MVP card. Serrano Taylor, this card isn't that bad like people keep saying. No, I agree. I could still see it going to a decision, but the steam on Serrano is insane. Let's see here. I hope we get, I'm there too, man. I like Anders, and I might even get to a money line bet at some point here before the end of the day. I hope we get plus money on Anders by fight time, and I'll play him. Yeah, and it could be, dude. The money's coming in on Weidman. People like him, and I think it's the end of the road for him, man. And now that Anders is sober, we might see an even better version of him. And I think he's, way bigger, way more athletic. Yeah, he does hit hard. He does. Chris's record and also in New York is also not great. Interesting. Michael Corleone told Mo Green, Chris Weidman is just unlucky. The old Godfather references. I love it, man. Serrano winning sets up a trilogy. Okay. Big Bad Bane saying, Chris, I poker Weidman. Yep. We got Benino saying calf kicks are out, landing big shots with the hands are in. Yes. Jake C, right. Yeah. Roofie decision. I sprinkled overs and fight goes to decision as well. Yeah. Roofie decision at plus 300 is interesting, I think, this week. Fighting nerds. Yes, sir. I like Hoofy, but that juice is way too steep. Yep. Face tattoo does not equal smart decisions. I'm with you there, man. I got face and neck tattoos. That's why I'm gambling for a living, says Sped. There you go, man. There you go. That's what, who says you got to go and get a corporate job? I mean, I never did. It was never for me, man. We got Uncle Weezy says COD. We got Achromatic saying, let's go. We got Olajuwon saying, Bo KO round 1, round 2. We got small but big, not big, or small but big saying, it's not that Bo's striking is good. It's that Craig's chin is dust. Yeah, well, still has got to hit him. I mean, but I agree. Yeah, Craig's chin not looking great these days. But still, I just think it's a stretch to think that Bo Nickel is going to be knocking dudes out as he comes up this ladder with 2 minutes of a distance striking sample size at the UFC level. We don't know if Bo Nickel is a UFC level striker, but we know Paul Craig isn't. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But we don't know that Bo is, that's why I'm saying I think it goes over 1.5. Weezy's the GOAT says Puzzo 2K. What's up, dude? We got your read on the Nickel fight is spot on. I hope it is. Otherwise, I'm going to lose a unit on the over 1.5 and plus 210 for Nickel. But it is what it is, man. We'll see how it goes. Parlay the round 2, Bo Nickel. Yup. Fight starts round 2. Yes. We got Greenbat in the room saying, sup, Weezy. A prize fighter once said, there is no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want you hot. I want to eat its children. And my favorite Mike Tyson quote of all time was when he was about to fight somebody. I don't remember who it was. And the guy who's interviewing Tyson says, your opponent, he's got this. He said he's got a game plan that he's gonna be able to execute and beat you. And Mike Tyson says, yeah, he's got a plan. Everybody's got a plan until I punch him in the fucking face. And I just remember like, oh God, he's right, You got a plan. Great. What happens when you get punched in the face, So I love Mike Tyson, man. He's one of my favorite people of all time, man. And praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was how that one ended. Yep. Both Iron Mikes are going to get cooked. Yeah, it's a definite possibility this week. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Is that what you're saying? Assalamu alaikum. We got Weezy. Let's get this shmoney. Let's go. We got Olajuwon Dream saying, I know people hate the same, but I got a feeling Chandler gets it done this time. He could absolutely land a big shot. Charles 2-3 says Benino. We got Benino saying he's the best light heavyweight, but let's be honest, light heavyweight isn't that deep of a division. Yeah. Let's get this money, Sonny. We got M. Tess is in the room saying, thanks, Big Weez. Appreciate you, M. Tess. Let's get it this week. Tyson or Paul, Weezy? I think Paul, just because as a 50-year-old, I can't picture trying to fight at a high level. So, yeah, man, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult for Tyson at 58. Tyson by decision is plus 1,000. The draw is plus 750. Don't the fight goes to the distance? Not going to lie. Yeah. Some good lines for a 4-legger money lane parlay. Let's get it, man. Yeah. McGee going to be in there. It was not in there, but I thought about McGee. I thought about Anders as well. Those were going to be in there, but I just think it's a huge step up for McGee. So I just don't love it that much at Juice because he's going from Gaston Bolaños to Jonathan Martinez. So, and at the age of 34. So while I'm picking McGee to win, I didn't want to have him in the Greasy parlay this week. Add Jake Paul. Yeah, you guys can do that, the Royal Weezy. That's right. I love it, Gus. What's happening, man? The Royal Wee. The Royal Weezy. Dude, I wanted to ask you why you aren't doing more money line bets. If I can make one criticism, it's that your level of difficulty is insane. Picking exactly how MMA fights will go is far too hard. And I agree with you, Yitro. That's why, look, life is about making adjustments. You know, I mean, if you want to be successful in life, you have to constantly be looking in the mirror and asking yourself if you're making the right decisions, if you're working hard enough, you have to be critical of yourself, of your process, of how you make your decisions. And it's something that I'm constantly moving forward. Like I told you guys months ago, you know, that I was going to change my process for how I break down fights. And, you know, and this is the process now, you know, I mean, like my process is to put in the work. And while we're on vacation over that 3 weeks that we don't have any fights between mid-December and mid-January, I am going to be redefining my process and how I make bets, not just on how I break down the fights, because I think that those changes that I've made have made me a lot more accurate picking the fights. But now I have to have the same discussion with myself about how I come to the conclusion of what bets I'm going to place. And I've got to have that discussion. I've got to figure out that process. I've got to examine that process. And I got to find out what changes need to be made to that process going forward so that I can make even more money. So I'm always going to be working to improve my process and the way I go about things. We got BT saying, all hail Weezy, let's go. And we got Yitro saying, I can vouch for the value of Weezy's Dub Club. It's more than worth it. Yeah, you guys, we got 6 new people since the beginning of the show. So thank you guys so much for joining up. If you go to, you can join the Discord once you get into the Dub Club there. I forget what tab it is on, but join the Discord, get in there, and become a part of the team. I promise you, you're going to love having access to all the information that I give my people. DK in New York took off the Tyson fight from betting lines. They might be getting a lot of money one side, and they might have to readjust the line to reflect how what their risk exposure is. They could potentially be really heavy on one side. Come on, guys. Best value. It's totally worth it. Totally, Michael. Appreciate you, my man. We got Jake C saying he's going to sign up when he gets off of work. Appreciate you, man. We got Bradley saying, just signed up, Uncle Weezy. Welcome to the team. Join the Discord. Come on in with us. Let's talk some fights, man. We got Live Dog saying, yes, dude, taking all the same picks. I always feel more confident when I come here and I see we're aligned. Thank you, Live Dogs MMA. Thanks for joining us today. Appreciate you. I got Charles by TKO in the second round. Very good. I'm trying to sign up, but no frickin' email was sent. Fucking email was sent. Really? Check your spam folder. Might have come into your spam folder, my man. Check that out. We got yes, sir. Stop cussing. Nah, man, we don't believe speech in here, man. He can cuss all he wants, dude. We got Chandler is gonna come win the first round, but second round Oliveira is gonna come back and win by TKO. Yeah, dude, that was how it went the first time. I mean, Chandler hurt him, got on top of him. Well, he had that guillotine in at one point. So there's another Dub Club sign up. Let's go, you guys. We got email will be sent. All right, let's cash. Pro Schmo saying we got the I don't know what that is. You go red dot. Is that oranges? I don't know, but appreciate you, Pro Schmo. Let's see. You can check one more off your Dub Club. Let's go, Flo. Thanks for joining up with us, man. An abbreviation. No one under 18 is allowed to bet. We're all adults here. I can't curse. You can certainly curse. You can absolutely curse, Live Dogs. We got Helder in the room saying, I heard that Miocic and Andres ophthalmologist had already made appointments when they found out the UFC is already going back to the old gloves. Yikes. I agree on all your predictions, but I really think Denise will get the job done. Yeah, dude, I don't have any problem with people picking Denise. There's absolutely a path for him. If he stuffs the takedowns and keeps this thing standing and lands big shots, he's gonna look minus 300. You know, it's a heavyweight fight. You know, there's a lot of variance in heavyweight fights, but I really do think that Ty Burr is going to find a takedown at some point, and I think when he does, the fight's going to be over pretty quickly after that. Even if Denise wins, I understand he sucks. He will never be anything, and his wrestling is worse than Despain. I don't know if it's worse than Despain, but yeah, he's got a lot of work to do in that part of his mixed martial arts skill set for sure. Muhammad, I'm Ard Bruce Lee saying I genuinely have no Wi-Fi and haven't for a long time. We got 100 viewers and 32 likes. Get it together, everybody. At least you could do is hit the thumbs up. Yeah, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, and leave me a comment down below. Let me know what your greasy four-leg parlay of the week is. My guy Daniel Parlay always does that. He gives me Paulie's parlay every week. Give your Uncle Weezy your parlays. Interact with me in the comment section. I always appreciate that. Sub for Craig at plus 1100 is all right. Yeah, it's a little bit more than all right. I think it's a great play. It might be a massive value loser, but at plus 1100, you don't got to put a lot of units on it to potentially profit big if it does hit. Wow, split majority was plus 750. That's a pretty good line. Amanda Serrano plus 120. Hopefully this line movement is correct. Had to play Taylor plus 180, plus 1,600 on Bet365. That is absolutely crazy for Craig's sub. I don't have that in Texas, but I'll probably move the Philippines next year and probably switch. There you go. Larry saying, totally understand if not, but it would be cool if I sent a screenshot of the stat sheets for one fight to one of my. Oh, yeah, absolutely, dude. Yeah, feel free, man. Feel free to do that. I totally. I love it when people promote the work and show the people the work that I do. You know, I mean, I think it's incredible. You know, all these stat sheets and stuff. I know it's not for everybody, but yeah, feel free to share it with them, Larry. How many fighters retire at 309? There could be as many as 4. I could see Jones retiring. I could see Stipe retiring. I could see Jim Miller retiring. I could see Chandler even potentially retiring. Weidman. Yeah. We got Punch Clan saying salam. What's up, Punch Clan? We got Teron Brown saying that I just think Oliveira is better than Chandler everywhere. Yeah, pretty close to it. Yeah, I agree. Maybe not wrestling, but and I think Chandler's got a ton of power, just like Oliveira does. Weigh-in starting. Let's go. Found your channel last week, says Raul Zaragoza. It helped me make picks. I signed up for the Dub Club today. It was a no-brainer. Truly appreciate you, Raul. Thanks for signing up. Welcome to the team. Let me know if you have any questions, brother. We got Joe Free saying, what up, Weezy? You're the man. Let's get this money. Weezy, you're one of the most decorative MMA bettors. Much love. Truly appreciate you, Joe Free. Let's get it this week. And Larry Mavid saying, ESPN said 95% of the bets were coming in on Tyson. That's wild. We got Jake saying, I signed up already, was getting nervous with that number going down. And yes, and thank you for signing up, Jake C. Welcome to the team. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the Discord and talking fights with you, man. We got Lon Tops, missed the catchway. I know, dude. 155. He says, I need it to be 165, and then he misses that. I mean, like, that is so unprofessional. You know, just terrible. Just terrible. My guy Fly just subbed to the Dub Club. Let's go, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, we got 7 new signups. So that is we got 18 more spots left that go away by midnight tonight. So try to get one of those 18 spots left. The description and link in the description of this video for that 80% off coupon for the Dub Club, and sign up, and we will see you guys in the Discord. Weidman retiring. Yup. We got Luca saying, let's go, Weezy. Always waiting for your live. We got my guy Luca from Georgia checking in. Good to see you hanging out in here, Luca. We got Gus B saying, why cut weight when you're scheduled for execution? Exactly. Right. That is probably what he was thinking. He was like, fuck it. You know, they're throwing me in there with this guy that to lose. So I'll just show up heavy. And Larry saying, awesome. Thanks. Is there a particular fight you think best shows the value of having the stat sheets? Dude, maybe like Oliveira Chandler. I would say Oliveira Chandler because you got big statistic sample sizes on both of them, and in the models, you know, on the you got 7 5-round fights here, and then maybe something like Jim Miller versus Jackson because you got some big sample sizes here. I'm not even showing you guys. Yeah, big sample sizes here in these betting templates, and in the over-unders and stuff like that for Weidman unders. There's, it's usually best when you have two veterans. So any of those sheets would be cool to show, Larry. And I appreciate you showing that and sharing it to the people that you have in your Discord. So that's it, you guys. We went through all the picks, gave you a greasy 4-leg parlay, gave you a take this job and shove it parlay, and I'm giving you guys an 80% off 1-month membership to the Probability UFC stats and content package available on my Dub Club. Link in the description of this video. Only 18 slots left. Become a part of it. Join the team. Check out all the information that you're going to get access to by signing that up to that so that we can all stack cashed tickets like flapjacks together. Special shout out once again to my guy Avery Marino for the generous donation sponsoring the show. And we will see you guys next week, tomorrow or Sunday night, for UFC Macau Stat Diggers with my guy DFS by the Numbers. And we'll have a whole nother week of Patreon and Dub Club only content for you guys next week for UFC Macau. In the meantime, let's stack cashed tickets like flapjacks for UFC 309. God bless each and every one of you guys. Enjoy the fights tomorrow, and we will see you guys next week for UFC Macau. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care.